whenever Connor's done.
Welcome to the Nerd Parker podcast, Will.
Oh, Connor's just doing it. All right, then.
Yeah. Hello, everybody.
Yeah. Insert episode number here. I can't think of the number off the top of my head.
197 sounds like a safe bet. Let's go for that. Welcome to Nerd Parker podcast with me, George, him, Connor, and joining us, we got another guest. It's Will. Will's back,
aka Jake Lockley.
Hi, Dr. Nick. Oh, I just had to check in that Simpsons reference. Yeah, it's great to be here again. This is like the second or third time I've actually been on. So
I know. And you're allowed on your own this time.
Oh yes, absolutely. I don't have Mike or Andrew with me. Believe it or not, I can do this on my own.
Oh yes. If you haven't already checked out Will's channel, WhoGameshows does some amazing stuff that we may or may not be involved in. Depends on what he's said or not.
And one wink and one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and one maybe. Oh, we both did.
I know. I mean, I did demolish you on a video that I don't even know if I'm allowed to talk about yet. But not in a sexy way, but in a questions way.
Well, that's when we get bigger budget.
Or if Will edits it in a sexy way, then it's a sexy way.
Sexy month.
Yeah, that'll come out next month. I'm assuming this comes out in April. It'll come out in May. So if your audience want to come over and watch George and Connor battle it out. Yeah, it'll be next month.
100%.
Yeah. Some great stuff over there, and it's always a lot of fun. It always makes the recordings fun, no matter how messy Discord makes it.
Yes.
Yeah, amen.
Today, obviously, we said we're talking about Legend of the Sea Devils in spoilerific. I mean, can you really spoil that?
That's a question.
What is there to spoil? Yeah.
Yeah, that is a question.
Yeah.
You can only spoil the bloody trailer at the end, can you? That's all that everyone seems to be talking about.
Yeah. So if you're wondering why we haven't talked about any pop culture stuff, too bad. Next week, and maybe we'll actually talk about Moon Knight at some point, because we've said for the last 3 episodes that we'll do it.
Once season 3 comes out the end this December, because season 2 will definitely be out next month, and then they're going to have a 3-month break, and then season 3 will be out
we
this Christmas.
just don't talk about Moon Knight ever. It never happened.
Who shall not be named.
Just like Legend of the Sea Devils. We're just going to jump right in. If you've not seen it, then
tough shit.
You're not really missing much. But if you have seen it, then feel free to comment down below why you thought it was badly edited. Some shit like that. We're kind of going to that. We'll go into the trailer, what we want for the end of the Chibnall era, and our basic thoughts on it, because I feel like there's especially
a good episode.
Yeah, I feel like us three. Yeah, exactly. I feel like us three in particular could probably talk about Chibnall's era for a long time. So maybe we save the era retrospective for another day. But
yeah.
How many times have you watched it at present, Will? Is it just once?
I have had no time, so I've only seen it once, yes, but once was enough, and I honestly have no desire to rewatch it. Even for this, I was like, you know what, if I can fit in, I'll try to, but even if I did have time, I probably just wouldn't have, because of the thoughts I will get into later, I'm sure, but it's just not one that I'd want to go back to rewatch. It's going to end up being like Planet of the Dead, the David Tennant Easter special. It's like the one you forget about. No one cares about.
That's true. It'll be like that. That is the worst one out of that run, and not just because of the person who wrote it, but I did.
It's just so forgettable.
Yeah, I get that vibe, because it was because we were talking about this yesterday. You've said that it's happening, right? The series 2 of Thingy. Have you said that's happening, or are you just going to make me edit this bit out?
Series 2 of what?
Series 2 of your House of Games.
Oh, so if you want to announce that here, absolutely. It's not been announced publicly, I don't think.
Do you want me to edit it out or carry on?
Go for it.
Oh yeah, so this, Series 2 of House of Games, you can check out Series 1 on the WhoGameshows channel. I'm in it for some reason. I just find my way onto these videos.
For some reason.
And for some reason, Will just keeps making me do more and more things. I started off as timer guy in Beat the Chaser, and now I'm a contestant, and I was, in other things, and I was on He Wants to Be a Millionaire and shit, so I don't know why.
You're a contestant, then a chaser, then a contestant again. It just depends on the game show.
Anything's better than just running the clock, and it's important people on there. When you had you've had Adam Martin and stuff like that, and I'm like,
we've had some big names. Yeah.
Why are you letting me hang around with these people?
Why are we in the big leagues?
The content. You produce the content, mate. I was actually listening back to the day 2 edit, the day you weren't on, of House of Games Series 2, because you of course had work, and I was like, this is very good, and it's still as good as the other 2. But episode 3 reminded me of the missing energy you brought, and I was like, this is exactly why
I gave you a lot of stuff to cut out, didn't I?
you had a bit of racy joke at the end, and I thought, you know what, I cannot keep that in. I've kept some of your offensive jokes in before, but that was just a bit too on the nose for YouTube's algorithm, I can say.
Yeah, that was a little bit. I do apologise.
No, it's funny. It was funny, but it's not allowed.
And energy referring to deleted scenes never to be surfaced online ever again.
Yes.
Unless you subscribe to Will's Patreon, then he might show you the unseen footage. But it's in 4:3 and it's black and white, so...
Yeah. You know, I had a Patreon page a few years ago, right? And, I put the Who Game Shows a little segment onto there, thinking people were going to buy it. It was only £1, and guess how many people bought it?
2.
Yeah, it was 2. I made £2 from a whole segment that cost me about £20 to produce. So that fucked me.
Every little step. Yeah, so we were talking the other day on House of Games about... because I didn't know that it was originally 60 minutes, and you were talking about the fact that it was cut, like, you know, we kept making the joke in the episode, like 12 minutes got cut out, so you'll have to cut out these 12 minutes. I did it, like, once you said that, I kind of thought back and I was like, oh yeah, you can really see it, because it was badly edited anyway, but now it just makes total sense of, like, you know, just take 12 minutes out now for, you know, the American fucking audience, I'm guessing, for BBC America, just so you can get a, you know... tidy it up for them, because there's 50 minutes with the ads.
I don't think it would have made much difference, to be honest with you, because have you seen, I just saw before I got onto here the ratings in the Americas of their viewership, and apparently it was only like 300,000 people who watched it, and that's like, and compared to like 1.3 million who watched The Impossible Astronaut, for example, so that's a huge drop off.
That is, the stuff with viewing figures, I think, is... they're down anyway because of, you know, the way TV is consumed. It's a lot more different. Yeah. I think the structure for iPlayer is just it's bizarre to me.
Odd. Yeah, odd.
Yeah, because you used to have, you know, it's on there for a week, so watch it while you can, and that would obviously boost the figures and like, oh, I should watch this episode of Doctor Who, but it's on there for like over a year, so why are you gonna rush to watch it?
Yeah, what's the rush, folks?
Or when it was like just even if it's just on there for a month, it's like there's no urgency.
I will bring up because you're on the topic. So,
yeah, go for it, man.
But you know how the viewership is lower on the TV, like live overnights? Surely you'd expect for the BBC iPlayer ratings to be higher than what they were when the show was as popular as it was back in the day, Matt Smith, David Tennant years.
Yeah.
So still, the iPlayer ratings are down on the Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi years. So I think you raised a good point in like, oh, they're available for a year. Just wait and to watch it. But the core audience, right, like the fan base is diminishing because surely the iPlayer ratings would still be decent, if not better, compared to Capaldi's era, but it's not, and the overnights are lower.
Oh no, I get that, because when iPlayer started 2007, wasn't it? And it
something like that, yeah.
Because I think I remember watching Sound of Drums on it.
Christmas Day 2007. Just
Christmas
to verify.
Day 2007.
Yeah, 25th of December 2007. Yeah.
Wow. That's
yeah,
weird. Yeah.
Random fact.
And instead, but it's gone from, it's trying to morph itself into a free streaming service, but I don't think there's an incentive to really get behind it and support it, because when BBC Three then went, it was kind of their chance to have their own branded content on there that's straight to streaming, but they never really did anything with it. Like even like,
and that's why it flopped.
Yeah, I know. Like we take the piss out of Class, but they never really knew what they were doing. They kind of just didn't. They never really publicised it. They never really talked about it beyond it's coming out.
Yeah, it's happening.
And then it was all out, but on TV as well at like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, whenever it was.
Where people are definitely going to watch it at that time. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's been on the downward spiral viewer wise since the Capaldi era, and that's not a knock on him as an actor, the era, and obviously has continued through Chibnall. I think there was a bit of an uptake from Series 11 to try and get a general audience back, which I think is very evident in the way Chibnall writes and produces that first series. But I think the whole secrecy Broadchurch thing of it worked for Series 11, but then you want to... Because what Russell was very good at was, in his era, like, it was everywhere. Like, he would openly talk about it in interviews, or if he was, it's like you'd have David or you know, at the time it was okay, but, you know, John Barrowman, like, out, and you'd have them on, like, Graham Norton or, like, these kind of chat shows, and, like, it would be in the public forefront. It would be everywhere. There would be trailers, there would be radio ads and stuff like that, and it's not really... I don't think I saw, apart from twice, I don't think I saw any more trailers for Legend of the Sea Devils than that during the build-up.
Right. Yeah.
I've went to the cinema quite a few times recently, and before the movie airs, there's like a BBC trailer, just like playing, and it's like for the dramas and just for their general big shows. And Doctor Who has not appeared once, and I just find that bizarre because you have other legacy shows that are from that have 8 series, like what do you call it, Line of Duty, Peaky Blinders, series like that, you know, that are long lasting, and then Doctor Who is not there, and I just think, why not?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of disdain for the show at the BBC anyway. Like, I've heard stories from people that, you know, it almost feels deja vu of the McCoy era. Like, no one really knows what to do with it or wants to sort of go near it, which is why I think Russell is coming back at sort of the right time to kind of G it up, shake it up. I mean, if the rumours are true, then he wants a series every spring again, which I think is part of the problem since Series 7, I would say, the inconsistency in the airing. I think that was kind of done in a lot of people. Yeah. I didn't mind how Series 6 was, because it felt like you had more of the show in the year. Like, you have the start in spring.
Because they split it up across the summer,
7 weeks, and then have a couple of months off, and then you came back in August for like another 6, and then it wasn't a long wait till Christmas. I liked that the most out of it.
Smart strategy,
And they redid that for Series 7 as well, to give the Clara episodes more time to film.
Yeah, but I think the problem with that is, you know, like, say what people want about Series 7, it's not my favourite, but it's got its gems that people don't appreciate. I think Matt Smith's my doctor, so like I will defend it in some kind of capacity. But Series 7 Part 1 and Part 2 feel like two completely different series, and that's where I think a lot of people lose it.
Yeah, I do think that was intentional, you know, the two opposite ends of the spectrum. But I would say, conversely, I reckon Series 9 was the last, you know, big series before it took a little spiral. And can you guys remember what the big difference was between Series 9 and Series 10?
Apart from no episode, Series 9 had each episode being 2-part stories, and Series 10...
That's true.
Were you going with that or not? Because that's the first thing that distinguished.
That's true.
9
but
and 10.
It was actually like what George was just saying. The gaps between Series 9 and Series 10. That was the first time there was like a year gap between a series, and that's where the viewership dropped off. So what they should have done, the BBC, is seen that parallel and seen that it shouldn't be acceptable for the show to have such big gaps between series, because it didn't work in 2016, I think it was, when Moffat was busy doing the final series of Sherlock, which also turned out to be crap, but there we go.
I would totally agree with you on that. Sherlock has jumped up its own arse so many times.
I've not been there yet. Spoilers, I haven't watched it yet.
No, it's a fantastic show, but Series 4 just loses the plot a bit.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I missed when that show was Let's Just Solve a Case, which it was only really for Series 1, and Series 2 is good because of the cliffhanger, and then it's like, and now here's me trying to be really clever, but that's, you know,
exactly,
that's a podcast for another day. The big problem with the Chibnall era has been, you know, 2018, like end of 2018, and then you wait until January 2020, and then you know, end of 2021. Like is no sort of, you kind of don't really know when the show's on anymore.
No.
And the losing of I think a lot of people have kind of underestimated the power of losing the Christmas special slot, because no matter whether they're good or bad, like most of the Christmas specials have been shit, to be honest.
Yeah,
but
fair enough.
It's
Christmas specials or New Year days. What are you trying to say?
Just like the normal Christmas ones. Like the majority of them have not been great.
Most of them are mid or bad.
Yeah. Like Christmas Invasion did it best.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, you know, people have their favourites because of, you know, I like Voyage of the Damned more and more as time goes by, and I think likewise. Christmas Carol is an underrated gem. But I think, you know, when that's on to that many people on that day, like, it's such a general episode, it doesn't have to be connected, it's just a bit of fun, and that will sometimes draw a lot more people in if you're just watching as a family, like 8, 10, or just 2 of you. Like, that can kind of make the difference. And New Year's Day, I think, isn't the same effect and is
No,
working as well as people have wanted, or it being on Sundays. I don't think.
It's an interesting parallel because you know the Series 9 specials with Planet of the Dead and The Waters of Mars. The Waters of Mars is infinitely more popular than Planet of the Dead, and I do wonder if that's because of like the nature of the episode. It's darker, so maybe people gravitate towards the darker episodes of Doctor Who more, which is, I think, one of the things that this era is lacking. You know, the dark episodes, the Dr. Donna, but that's not particularly dark, but it ended dark. You know what I mean? The Time Lord Victorious, like all this era has to offer in that respect is the Doctor shouting at Yaz, and then Yaz sulking for the rest of the episode. That's all we get, and it's one of my criticisms of this episode. It's just like, and I was talking to Michael, who you had on last week or a few weeks ago. Basically, what we said was that this is a bit of a criticism of the episode, if we want to do a sub into that, but one of our mentions we spoke about was Yaz's character has evolved into one characteristic, and that is just wanting the Doctor, you know what I mean? So in Series 2, we had the whole arc with Rose and the Doctor being in love and whatever, but at least we had some growth to Rose's character by the Satan two-parter. By the second part of that, she really holds her own, and she's not just like this whining character who's fawning over the Doctor, but that's all Yaz is. And people say like Series 11, Series 12, oh, she did nothing, she's in the background, and whilst I agree, at least there is still, you know, something to her character every now and again. But now Chibnall is incapable of putting two characteristics with one character. He didn't do it with Tosin Cole's Ryan. He's not doing it with John Bishop anymore, because I think in Legend of the Sea Devils, John Bishop descended into Tosin Cole 2.0 with his dialogue that he was given. I was like, if you swap John Bishop for Tosin Cole right now, you wouldn't tell the difference because the dialogue is so similar. And Graham, what did he have going for him except from Series 11? Series 12, he was just playing himself. He was just, you know, hovering about. And I just think Chibnall's companions are so crap. And Yaz, who I thought at the end of Series 3 was the best companion out of the lot, she's just descended into a nothing character. And even in Series 3, she didn't do much.
No, I completely get that. I think I've had a problem with the overstuffed TARDIS for a while, and I think it's a shame because Chibnall has written villains very well. I think in terms of bringing, you know, a bit of fear back into the likes of the Daleks, the Cybermen, the Master. The Sontarans are still up for debate because I think I'd need to try and, you know, rewatch Flux to get a grasp of whether they... Cause
I do like the Sontarans one, yeah.
Yeah, they definitely seem better in that.
I just think, sorry to cut you off,
No,
in terms of redesign, I think maybe this era's got arguably the best redesigned-ish classic.
But a redesigned Potato Man does not a story make. Let's, you know, let's get that. Because like if I think for me the best example is a Shard, and you know how that comes into play for the last episode's going to be a bit interesting.
Is that the lone Cyberman, yeah?
Yeah. Like that was.
He's not very lone when he always turns up with a whole
army. With a whole load of Cybermen, yeah.
Battalion, yeah.
Yeah, he's like the front man of the Cybermen. He's like the Jared Leto of Cybermen, but not as much of a cunt.
Or sinister, Badum-tish.
Or sending bullets to Margot Robbie, but we don't know. It could have happened. Yeah, so like he's written the villains very well, but I agree with what you're saying. Like in terms of, you know, it's very one-dimensional for the companions.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you felt the same, but I feel like Ryan and Graham should have left before Series 12 because their story was kind of done. The whole Grace thing, it was resolved. But then it was the Amy and Rory problem in Series 7. They was just still there.
Yeah.
And like as much as I love Amy and Rory and they're some of the best, like I still felt like, no, these guys should have gone.
That's why they kind of introduced the divorce plotline, though. And some people didn't, you know, respond to that well, but at least it was something to add to their characters after, like, 2 series of, you know, kind of fighting their love with each other, and then finally in Series 7.
But I think it felt like such a jump, and it was so, like, disconnected from everything that had come before. I felt like that's why... Because I personally... I don't like it, but I don't hate it. Like, it's one of them things where I'm like, oh, it doesn't have to be there. But like with Ryan and Graham, like he calls him Grandad, like they have the whole, you know, making peace with Grace and that, and even after, you know, seeing Tim Shaw in battle of the most boring series finale ever.
Raxacorophalabatorius discount, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever it's called.
It was like, that's kind of done. They don't need to be there. Yaz was always very sort of. She was always in the background for Series 11. She was given more to do in Series 12, and stuff like Can You Hear Me and Demons of the Punjab, I think, are highlights for her in terms of her tenure.
Yeah,
because it was actually giving her stuff to work off of and like be connected emotionally to.
Yeah, it's promise there.
But then, like you say, Flux, she's sort of back to, you know... Because I was looking forward to just a 2 TARDIS scene, because I thought that was like, it could, you know, maybe take the pressure off Chibnall if he's just got to write for the Doctor and one other character. Like, maybe that's the thing of, like, he's trying... Because the big TARDIS, you've got to kind of give everyone something to do. But, you know, Dan has been a welcome addition, and I think John Bishop has been the best thing about Series 13, and arguably the last 2 specials as well. Like, in terms of how derivative I think his dialogue did get in this episode, it was... I tweeted it out, like, I'm going to miss John Bishop, man. Like, I wish we'd have got more time with him. I wish he'd have been given more to do. But he is a joy, and... You know, he spends a lot of time away from the Doctor, so I think that's why I've enjoyed him more. Like, he's felt more like a character.
Yeah, he's felt more human. He's kind of like the fans' point of view, and he just feels like
one
of
he's
us.
very sorry. Yeah, very sorry.
Yeah, he just feels like one of us. Yeah.
Should we get into like the actual how we felt about this episode?
And was it legendary?
Of course, yeah.
Connor, what did you think of it first?
I just maybe a 6.5 out of 10. Just rate it. I don't know. Honestly, it's the most. It's as far as the special goes. Like you mentioned about Planet of the Dead being like a forgotten one. Like it honestly is sort of on par, or if not slightly weaker than like the Planets of the Dead. It reminds me of a Tennant special, but just like however many years later from it. It just feels like a random discombobulated episode put together, but because it's has a slightly longer run time too. Did it or did it not? It was 50, no, 50,
Was it an hour, Will, in the end, or not?
or 50 odd minutes?
I'm literally googling it now.
Okay, it felt longer.
So, Planet of the Dead was 60 minutes, and Sea Devils was 47.
47.
Is that it?
It's shorter than a normal
You're
episode.
calling that special, folks. You're calling that special. No.
Oh, you can feel that, man. That edit is rough.
Yeah.
It was meant to be 60, but like we said on House of Games, that your audience may not know, it was cut by 13 or 12 minutes or whatever, because it apparently included some moments that the Chinese, because of course the BBC sold the show to China, and China got back to them and was very, very unhappy, because apparently some scenes were, you know, depicted as racist or whatever, or was culturally insensitive, so they also cut it for the UK version just to keep the Chinese censorship happy or whatever.
Okay.
I mean, it's a good thing they weren't around the Talons of Wen Chiang, which I've made that joke already to you.
I mean,
Robert.
we don't want a modern recreation of that. Yeah.
But the thing is, they kept the lesbian kiss scene in Deep Breath in, even though China didn't approve and they cut it out of their broadcast. But conversely, because so much was supposedly offensive, they just cut the lot, and as a result, they just had to make do with what they had left, and it really showed, because, you know, I could at least sense that whole scenes were missing, because like there were 2 different moments cut together, and I was like, oh, that was weird. Why are they there? How did they get there? Were they still there when that was happening? So why didn't they intervene? And it was like, there was just scenes missing, I felt. Maybe that's a writing problem, or maybe that's just, the direction and
what
editing
scenes
problem.
jumped out like that for you, then?
So it's when it's the first swords battle between the woman. I don't know any of the characters' names. Like most of the Chibnall era, I don't know any of the guest character names.
It's nice to be honest. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Towards the start, a man and a woman are having a little sword fight, and then one of them gets defeated, and then Ryan, the Doctor, Yaz, and Dan pop up beside him and just say, "Oh my God, it's whatever the hell the scenario was," and I was just like, "Oh, so they were there." But then all of that was happening just off there, and then they're back. But why didn't they intervene? Why did they act so surprised? Well, not even surprised. They deliver it so deadpan. And it's like somebody mentioned it on Twitter. They posted a screenshot. On the beach, it was like the moment where the Doctor's earpiece or whatever is magnetized by the sea. And the Doctor acts like, oh my god, this is going, so Jodie Whittaker is giving it her all. And then in the background, Yaz and Dan are like doing nothing. They're just walking towards her, like without any emotion. And basically what they said was that the direction problems are clear, because clearly the side cast, and this is just one clear example across many scenes in this episode, the people in the background seem to be getting no cues, no direction on what to do. So it was really bizarre, because the person who was focal to the scene was doing their thing, but the background characters were just doing nothing, like no emotions, and it was just really weird.
Oh, no, yeah. I get exactly what you're saying. I'm just Googling the director.
So we can shame him, yeah.
Because was it a first time?
Well, I think bloody should be, mate. Regardless if it isn't, this is a first time job.
Directed by Hailu Wang. I'm sorry if I've butchered your name, but if you're listening to this, then you've come to the wrong episode. Her first time. I think it was a woman.
Yeah. But the thing is, it wasn't even the direction, like you guys said earlier. It's also the editing. It's like I'm in first year university, right? I'm doing film production, and I've seen better edits similar to that done by other students. You know what I mean? So all the lightsaber battles was swing, a flash of blue, and then cut. And I was like, oh my god, that is literally so shit. I was like, that is so awful, and that should not be the expectation of a BBC primetime. That shouldn't be the expectation of Doctor Who.
The standard.
No.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, the standard of Doctor Who. That was dreadful. The action sequence, I think everyone's in universal agreement, they were bad. It was just awful.
Well, they didn't even really feel like action sequences to me. They just felt like just things that happened.
I remember people on ropes, swords were swung, but then the camera awkwardly cut before you see a blade sort of touch or make contact with someone's skin, and it was kind of like, oh, let's just slide out the way.
Don't let the swords touch your skin. Yeah, thanks, Doctor. Great advice.
So bad. That being said, I was just laughing. I was like, my nan was watching it with me on her sofa. I was on the chair, and I was like, well, no fucking shit. They wouldn't let the sword touch their skin.
Even if they were normal swords.
It was a tweet, and someone replied to it. It was like, oh, it's because the swords had electricity, and there was a plot point. I was like, who gives a shit? They're obviously not going to let the sword touch their skin because of a plot point. A sword's bad enough.
No, exactly. It was... I think I might have enjoyed it more than either of the Daleks, though. Like, not by much, but I feel like I kind of was just sort of like... The Sea Devils look great, so it was just nice to
That's literally the only praise I can give it, though. I didn't care about 80% of it, and like the ending with the Doctor and Yaz, which we'll get to when we eventually get to it, but that just kind of put the nail in the bed for me, and it was just kind of like, well, it was just kind of a whatever episode. But yeah, the Sea Devils look fucking amazing in this era. All I'll say about this Jodie era is, I know the retrospective will come in like a future episode, but like this era is arguably the best looking bit of modern Who like throughout this entire Chibnall era.
I agree.
But it's just saying.
But it's style over substance.
It is, yeah. Style over substance over the majority of these episodes, I feel.
I love the loyalty to the original design and the voice of the Sea Devils as well.
Who was the voice? Because I don't think they were credited. Because the credits were a bit hacked together as well. Because I think, is it Malcolm Hoare who created the Sea Devils? His name was spelt wrong. They missed like an L out of his name. What's her name? Who Dan fancies?
Diane.
Di wasn't. She wasn't on the cast. Like, she wasn't credited. And there was no credit for the voice of the Sea Devils, because everyone's like, was it the guy who actually played like the head Sea Devil, like doing the voice? Because I just assumed it was Nick Briggs, which is like, I kind of just assumed that if it's a new monster, like it's a monster coming back, it's 9 times out of 10 it's Nick. Like he did Zygons, as well as obviously Dalek, Cybermen, Nestine, and like so on.
But like some people are saying, I think Praxis would have made such Praxis is another mid episode. I don't like Praxis at all, but at least that kind of offers a decent story for the Sea Devils to return. Like this episode's Legend of the Sea Devils, because obviously Praxis is a very simple plot, but Legend of the Sea Devils focuses on so many things. It's typical Chibnall. He brings in about 3 different huge concepts. He tries gluing them together, and he just does so unsuccessfully, because like, what does this episode have? It's got a historical pirate with a missing crew, it's got the Sea Devils, and it's got the big Sea Devil with the stone plot or whatever. And also you've got the plot of the Sea Devil's trying to submerge Earth for some reason. So you've got 4 very big ideas, and they merge together horribly. And it's like, in the Chibnall episodes in other eras, 42, way too many characters in that one. Cold-blooded family, not family of blood, Cold-Blood's, the
Hungry Earth, Cold Blood, yeah.
I'd argue that episode, that set of episodes, has the strongest character work because he didn't overstuff it, and the guest cast basically were all a family, so it kind of had a nice dynamic. But then you have dinosaurs on a spaceship, which literally reverts back to 42 problems. Way too many characters unnecessarily. Could have just had Brian, Amy, and Rory with the Doctor. What else did he do? He did the Power of 3, saw all the Return of Unit, nice, but still way too many characters. And then of course Series 11 and Series 12, he just doesn't focus on one thing. And sometimes, I did say this to Michael as well, sometimes surface level ideas are enough. Like anything from RTD
100%.
Moffat era, most of the episodes, believe it or not, on these massive, the Big Bang, time heist, extremist, plots, they're very, very simple, but they work. With Chibnall, he tries to do Moffat, but unlike Moffat, he goes for scale as opposed to intricate and decent writing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Instead of trying to make him sound clever, he's just trying to make it look like he's making. It's almost like
something original.
It's like he's. I think it's like he's trying to write a bigger show than he thinks it is.
Yeah.
Like he thinks it's like a big Netflix style sci-fi drama that like
anthology episode.
Yeah, like 7 million people are watching a week. It's not that. Like Doctor Who has the ability to be drama and all things and monsters and that, but it also is very sort of within itself at points because it is meant to make you feel like this could happen to you, and it's not big budget sci-fi all the time. A lot of the time, it's just human moments. Like I think one of the best written things for me in his era is the confrontation between Ryan and his dad in the cafe in Resolution. I think it's just
I did like that in retrospect, yeah.
In moments like that, like that's what you're here for. Like you stay for the monsters, but it's the humans that you're meant to associate with and see yourself in or sympathise with. Which I think he's really struggled with. Like Flux was a mess. Like that's
it was, yeah.
Thing for another day. Like that for like you said, with in terms of episodes having way too much in it. I think Flux is a big example of that. There's so much happening. There's so many characters, and then it's just sort of like, oh, and we've kind of wrapped it up, and it'll probably come up in 3 episodes' time. Like, see you later, bye.
But here's the thing with Flux, right? Well, how come they couldn't just do what they did with episodes 2 and 4, so War of the Sontarans and Village of the Angels, but for all 6? Like, I know they say, COVID and whatever, but how could they do pretty much 2 standalone episodes still? Why not just do 6 standalone episodes?
Yeah,
exactly.
Oh yeah, I would have been up for that.
Plot. That probably adds like more stress onto them, surely.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's like they are the strongest ones I think in the series because it's just the happenstance around like it's just in the background. Like you don't have to focus on the what's the Flux, what the hell is what the hell are the Vanquishers and all this blah 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 blah. And Tech Tayun's here for some reason.
And then she dies the next episode.
Because I said to Connor when that happened, like, I think that would have been a good thread to lead into her last episode. Of like, when she gives her the whole speech of like, hold on to that because like we're coming back to this kind of thing, and then Tech Tayun just dies. Like, if that had happened and then like Tech Tayun had left, and it would have been like, oh, that's a nice thing to maybe like wrap up in the centenary special, but
100%.
But that trailer, which we'll probably get onto like towards the end, is just like I'm excited, yes, but worried because I don't think Chibnall can balance this many things. Like we have.
I was gonna say if Tech Tayun was in the finale as well, I'd be like, oh well, he's fucked. I still think he's fucked right now. Chris Chibnall for the centenary, but if he had Tech Tayun to juggle as well and the Fugitive Doctor, in fact, then oh my god, it's going to be a clusterfuck.
Yeah, the Fugitive Doctor's kind of felt like a bit of a waste, really.
After Series 12, it's like
unless Joe Martin is the next Doctor, then I would.
I think she is, because they haven't announced the next Doctor yet. So I do want, and of course, the Fugitive Doctor isn't in the promo yet for this special. So perhaps the twist is that she's in it, but as the 14th Doctor, and I think That's a way of making it work, but would that retcon the Fugitive Doctor storyline? I don't know.
Yeah,
But
Well, no,
like,
because it
from the
kind of
start,
would be
I'd love
about
to see her
revisiting. You
in
know, we've
14.
had the revisiting faces, haven't we? And I think as much as
Yeah,
Russell
that's true.
can ignore it as much as he wants, like I think he's the kind of person to think, no, there is something good here. Like there's something I can do. Like, and he
Yeah.
might find a way to sort of like,
salvage
this
what
is
had
how
already
you
been
do
caused.
it.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
Joe Martin is fantastic, and
Yeah.
she has been used very fleetingly, and I've wanted more from her. And if she turns out to be 14, then fucking amazing. If she doesn't, then I feel like it's a waste for the first person of colour to portray this
Yeah.
character to be a la John Hurt, an incarnation that you didn't see, but it's already happened. So like, it definitely already was real.
It's already written in the books.
Bye.
Yeah.
You know how Capaldi chose his face from Caecilius from the Fires of Pompeii, right? To kind of reminding him
To
why
hold
he
me
is the
to the
Doctor that
mark.
he saves people and whatever. With the Fugitive Doctor, with choosing the 14th face or whatever, maybe Jodie Whittaker's Doctor is just like, okay, I've come to peace with the Timeless Children now because of the Fog Watch stuff at the end of Series 13. I'm going to acknowledge my past now, and I'm going to, acknowledge my history and
Embrace
you know,
it, kind of thing.
pass that on, embrace that into her 14th incarnation. I think that's a way of doing it.
Yeah, sort of like a sense of closure of like the era as a whole and the Timeless Child
Exactly.
story
It
arc.
would work perfectly like that, yeah.
Which I don't like, as much as he said like he expects
against.
Russell to ignore it or whatever. Russell is like, we're bigging it up like we know him, but like Russell is
We
not
go
the
way
kind of
back.
person to ignore
Nudge, nudge.
continuity, really, is he?
Oh,
Like
no,
as much
no.
as he didn't like the human aspect of the Doctor in like the TV movie, he's never, he's
Gone out
never
of his
shied
way
away
to,
from
to,
it.
to deny it. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
He's
He's-
never
yeah.
retconned it fully. Yeah.
And he's always kind of built back towards like series 1, very bare bones and basic, but has always built back towards the things that he knows that not every fan will love, but like the hardcores will love, like having Gallifrey, having the Time Lords,
Yeah.
making sure the Time War doesn't just boil down to like a space battle with lasers. Like the words that he writes are much better than the visuals we see in Day of the Doctor, like to my mind.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I think if someone's gonna like, he's very respectful, and I don't think he's gonna just be like, no.
He won't.
Like,
no.
yeah, he might tweak a few things to make it fit like his thing.
his run, his regime.
But I feel like I'm ready for change, and I hate to feel like that with this show, because there's never been an era where I've watched it and been like,
Oh my God,
I'm waiting for
yeah.
the next one.
Come on already.
I've never felt the need like some people you've seen on Twitter, Will, that are just like flat out like, this is this and this is why it's bad, and like, I hate it, and WOMs are bad, but. I want the next one to be female because
Yes,
I think
same.
it just makes it a gimmick of like, well, Jodie's the female one and we revert back to type, and with someone like Russell I have no fear. I think he's going to cast a woman, because it's not like you're going to cast you're bringing in someone new as a showrunner that's going to be like, I'll play it safe and
Do
make
what's
like
popular,
cast
yeah.
Ben Whishaw or some shit.
Yeah, but the thing is, if he does bring it back to a man, maybe it's a black man, but even then, I can just picture it now. It's like, why would you not capitalize on the Doctor being a female rather than reverting back to a male, even if it was a black male? And then, perhaps if he does another 2 Doctors in his tenure, why then go back to a female? Why not capitalize on Whittaker? Even though I don't think she's been fantastic. I think in Legend of the Sea Devils is one of her weakest performances and whatever.
Yes.
But cast another strong... she is a strong female actress, and
Oh, definitely.
cast another one, because she's fantastic in Broadchurch and other shows. Her Doctor show she did a few years ago in parallel with Series 11, she was superb in that.
Yeah.
Cast another really talented woman, and if you want to go to Doctor run again, Russell T Davies, perhaps do your second Doctor be a black man, for example, but do a woman first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
I kind of wanted like 3 women. Like I wanted like the next couple to be women. So it's kind of like you almost get like 10 years of the Doctor being away from being a man,
Yeah,
and you almost get like this journey of growth. Like so, you have Jodie who's like mid to late
We've had 5
30s
years
and
of
white.
journey, to be fair.
Yeah, that's the thing. But I feel like I've barely gotten like as I've gotten to know her, she's
Yeah.
going. Like that's a thing that I think will be fixed in the next era. Like. we just need to have more of it out
Yeah,
consistently
100%.
to actually feel like we know these characters. Like Dan's the only companion I've ever really felt like I've kind of known or got like an idea of who he is.
Yeah.
Like you've got Jodie, like White, mid-30s. Like if you could have Jo Martin, who's I think, is she late 40s or early
To
50s?
the internet. Let's Google.
I feel like she's maybe like late 40s. Like you have, different like orientations, like ethnicities, different backgrounds. So you have like 3 completely different female versions of the Doctor that, give more to like a female voice or a female audience. So then by the time the Doctor comes back to being a man, it's not a big deal. It's not a thing of then, it's got to be a man now because it's been a woman. Like you can just do, like whichever actor's best is the person that gets it. It doesn't matter, their gender, their, ethnicity or any kind of sexual orientation or stuff like that. That would be where, to balance the scales, you've kind of got to tip them the other way for a little bit. So that would be what I would.
The thing is, I don't want to say the radicals, but it's the radicals on Twitter that kind of say, the next 50 or 60 years of Doctor Who should be all female, and I think I can understand
I get what
where
they
you're
mean,
coming from,
but
have a little bit of balance,
Oh yeah, like I don't expect all of them to, like I don't expect it to be like we've had 12, technically 13, but we've had 12 blokes in a row, let's have 12 women. Like it's easy to say that, but I think eventually it will be more balanced and a lot closer than it has been.
Yeah, the number scale will be.
But we need to concentrate on concentrate on the next immediate Doctor. Like let's make that work, because if it goes back to we just want like a white male to play it, then we've kind of lost the battle really in terms of like making this, because this show is it's been pretty inclusive and progressive since it not just since it came back, but like in some of the classic years there's been a lot more stuff that
I'd argue from the start. Like even the William Hartnell era, when I was rewatching it like a year ago, I was like, holy crap, this is like really polite to foreign cultures and whatever.
Oh yeah, and stuff like that. Like it's always been a show that accepts everyone, accepts change, and it welcomes it, and that's I think its strength. And I would like to see that continue into this next era. I'm kind of annoyed that I haven't liked it. I've not gone out my way to say like this is shit and this is shit, but I've found myself less enthusiastic about it. I was getting hyped up for Flux because I've always have that hope that deep down it's going to be great.
Annoyed at yourself for not liking it, or just annoyed at situation.
I'm annoyed at myself,
like impartial,
because I don't want to sound like one of those people, like like Will, like you said.
I
don't want to sound like one of them people that it's like
not my doctor.
But this has not been an enjoyable couple of years for me.
No, it hasn't.
There's been high points, definitely. Like I think Spyfall's a lot of fun, both parts of that. I do think Timeless Children isn't that bad, and I really did like Haunting of Villa Diodati, Ascension of the Cybermen.
Yeah.
Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror was rather brilliant as well.
It was, and not just for the amazing title alone. Like Rosa,
that's true.
Demons of the Punjab.
Yeah, it's got its highs.
And even like you said, War of the Sontarans and Village of the Angels, like great episodes. Like I really enjoyed Village of the Angels.
Yeah.
Like that was one of the ones I watched. I was like, this feels like it's back,
Finally.
firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, finally.
And I've enjoyed to a certain point, casting notwithstanding, the Dalek episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think Resolution is the strongest of the three. The 3 Dalek ones.
There's me rating a 1 out of 10.
No, but
if you do a retrospective and have me back on, I will rip Resolution a new asshole. I love Revolution.
That is a promise, ladies and gentlemen. I like Resolution. I think Revolution, it's a bit stupid. Like Jack Robertson. It's Trump allegory aside, it's still just a bland
how many
character.
Daleks? I remember 2 of them. What's the third one?
Resolution, Revolution, and Eve.
The Daleks.
And Eve. Yeah,
the last
Eve was
one
this.
before CW.
Do you know why you're confused, Connor? It didn't start with an R.
True.
That's why.
Yeah.
The Reeve of the Daleks.
Reeve of the Daleks. Yeah.
That was okay.
I think I like the second one out of the 3 the best.
Yes. You're like.
Don't ask me why. I need to do an in-depth retrospect and update you. But yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely look
It's
back
just
on
because
it.
it does the Daleks the most justice. Because, like, in the resolution, if we get to it briefly, like, most, like, 90% of the episode is a Dalek mutant on this woman's back, right? And all it's doing for the whole episode is saying lines like, sit, open electronic device, drive, left, don't do that. And I just thought, why are people saying that Chibnall knows how to ride the Daleks when he's writing them like this? Go and watch Army of Ghosts and watch the interrogation battle between the Cybermen and the Daleks, and that is good writing. Russell T Davies shits on Chibnall, so if you say, "Oh, Chibnall knows how to ride the Daleks," go watch a Russell T Davies episode, please.
If you haven't, yeah.
Go from the parting of the ways, right? Or no, yeah, go from Bad Wolf or Parting of the Ways, and then watch Resolution. It just doesn't compare.
Oh, but that's
yeah.
that's like
Yeah.
comparing a burger to a steak. Like the quality is immediately apparent even before you've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, I do like Resolution because I think it was
fair
more
enough.
of the monster horror of the actual mutant. It made them a bit more threatening. Obviously, those things carry over into Revolution, so it does feel like a bit more like it's like progression of that storyline. I just think there's some decisions and some dodgy things in like the last sort of like 15-20 minutes of that where you're just kind of
agree.
like, this is
Yeah, what is this?
like
Yeah.
that. It's a lot of blockbuster fun, but like in retrospect, it's like just one of them things that I don't hate it, but
No.
Resolution. I think I was kind of sort of like we all knew the Daleks were in it, but it was kind of surprising in how it handled it, and
Yeah, it was different. I give it that. It was different.
Yeah.
Unlike any other before it.
yeah, and it's why
But
why
Revolution kind of reverted. Go for it, George.
no. So go on, yours.
Okay, but Revolution of the Daleks kind of reverted back to it kind of balanced it really well with Resolution and how Daleks were portrayed before.
Yeah.
In the sense that they were in the case for most of the episodes, but there were also Dalek mutants that were being repopulated, like recreated through cloning by
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
crazy
That was a
guy.
fun aspect of it.
And,
Rise of
yeah.
Skywalker, but better.
And it's like when you mentioned, George, that Resolution is like that scary nature of the Daleks. I think Revolution actually shines with the scary nature because you have the scaffolding scene where the clones are being kept, and you have mutants jumping from the scaffolding onto like John Barrowman and what's her name, Mandip Gill's face. It's like really scary body horror. And then you've also got the scene where stupidly the guy who is going to disintegrate one of the mutants opens the box to let it escape. Like, really cliched, really stupid scene. But it's so scary to, like, see the fire in the background, like the incinerator, and you have the Dalek mutants, like, rushing out of it, and then out of the fire onto the guy's face. I just thought that was quite brilliant.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
That's why I prefer that episode, yeah.
That's that's fair enough. It's definitely Legend of the Sea Devil is definitely the weakest of these specials.
Yeah. Wow.
Plot and well, what would you rank any of these Chibnall specials below Legend?
What would you say, Connor?
So out of the Chibnall ones.
How would you rank? Interesting question. How would you rank the Chibnall specials? This goes to all of us, I guess. Like, let's have a conversation about it.
I would say
I kind of forgot how many he's done.
I think there's 4, right?
yeah. So
yeah.
I'd
No, 5 if you include Spyfall Part 1, which aired on New Year's Day, but just the Dalek specials and Sea Devils, let's just do those.
I'd say they get just progressively worse. So I'd probably rank them. I'd put Resolution and Revolution closer together, but like as the top 2, and then Eve and Legend.
Interesting.
Even though I had a lot of fun like in terms of casual viewing with Eve because it was like oh, this is kind of better than Flux, so I had a bit more thing of like disconnect of like let's just turn my brain off and enjoy it, but
It was better than the Vanquishers, yeah.
yeah,
I had the same kind of
but that wasn't. They could have just put an hour of Dan just taking a shit on screen, and I would have enjoyed that better than Series 13.
And that would have been better than either the Daleks, to be fair.
Yeah, well, possibly. Oh, Dan, I need some paper. How would you rank them, Will?
Oh god, okay, so I'd say I'll rate them as well. Revolution of the Daleks, I'd give that a 5 out of 10. And then I would give Legend of the Sea Devils, which I'd give a 3 out of 10. And then I would say Eve of the Daleks, which I'd also give 3 out of 10. And then we have Resolution right at the bottom with a 1 out of 10, I'd say.
Wow, I agree for all your ratings there. Apart from like the last one, obviously, because I just got more enjoyment.
Of course, yeah.
I think you're right. They don't really stray beyond the 5. I think it's hard for them to be anything
Pass.
other than average.
Yeah.
Whereas
Like a 6 or 7 at best.
Whereas
if
you
you're
could
being kind.
say that like some of the earlier ones with Russell and Moffat were maybe, because I say a lot of this for the Moffat era in general. Like he had higher peaks, like but he also did have lower lows. But like in terms of like when it was good, it was like
Really good.
it was like an 11 out of 10 all the time. Like it was that kind of thing.
Yeah. I would still say though, like the Moffat era, like Moffat's lows always came from like a guest writer, because if you just look at a list of Moffat written episodes, like there's not one that you would even put in the same category as like the Saranga Conundrum or Arachnids in the UK, for example, or the Battle of Ranskow Kolos.
Yeah.
No.
No, yeah, I get that. Whereas Chibnall's kind of, they've all been the same kind of level. They've all been sort of like, I'd say like a 3 out of 10 to like a 6, like consistently, with the odd 8, 9 out of 10. Like in terms of like, you know, Rosa, Nicola Tesla's Light of Terror, like all the stuff we said we enjoyed before. I think those ones are like the odd ones out, and it's been nice when those episodes come along, and I kind of wanted this to feel, not in terms of story wise, like alluding back to earlier, like Planet of the Dead, but in terms of that's the last special where you just have some fun. And then like it gets into like, oh, and then this is the serious thing, and like I just think we've got 90 minutes to wrap up a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't really see
how it's
because we've got spoilers for the next time trailer, but like we've got Vinda.
Yes.
We've got
somehow back.
We got the Cybermen and Ashard. We got the Daleks.
Yeah.
We've got the Master in different stages of facial hair, like from smooth all the way up to long raggedy beard.
Yeah.
We've got we know Graham's in it. We assume maybe Ryan in some capacity will at least be mentioned.
Ryan Sinclair.
Apparently, Tosin denied the rumors on Instagram by posting a picture that he had got like a haircut for a different role or something. But again, yeah, he didn't even have hair in the first place, so it doesn't really matter.
We all know Andrew Garfield. Look how well that went.
Yeah,
that's
exactly. Like he's kind of got to be involved in something. It would be weird if everyone came back to say goodbye, but Ryan's not there.
Not him. Yeah.
And obviously we've got the return of Ace and Tegan, which I think joyous. We've got Unit and Kate Stewart, and because we knew that from filming long ago. But like this was a nice surprise. Like, how did you feel with that in the trailer? Were you like, yeah, or like, oh, I don't know how this is gonna fucking land?
Yeah.
No, like both of you, like.
Sorry, all good.
I was waiting for you.
Oh, damn it! I was gonna say, is it a sight for sore eyes? It's like, yay, Doctor Who's better. Oh no, but you're in a fucking Chibnall script. Oh god, how's this? The pressure. Part of me was mixed. I was genuinely like, yeah, cool, blast from the past. Like, these are the companions I've got more knowledge with than anything that's going on in Chibnall era right now. But the fact that you're in this era, kind of, whether it's to bring back familiar audience members from the past, or just to be like, oh look, something different's going on, or I don't know. I'm happy, but I'm not. I'm terrified at the same time.
I'm pretty much the same. Yeah, I think most people are. To be fair, it's like, will Chibnall screw over our favourite characters from the past? Oh dear God, please no.
Yeah. Will it be like a Last Jedi? Will it be a completely different character? Will it be the opposite of what we once knew?
Exactly. Well, honestly, I wasn't. The biggest scream from me when I was watching it didn't actually come from Ace and Tegan. First of all, I didn't even recognise Tegan. I
didn't.
I saw Ace and I was like, it's Ace, yeah! Where's McCoy? I was like, where's McCoy?
Come along, Ace,
we got work to do. It's like, Tegan there as well. I was like, oh god, it is Tegan. But the biggest scream that I got, surprisingly, was the Daleks. And I think that's a good sign, because, I think the Daleks are obviously the most iconic Doctor Who villain and whatever. And the fact that they can still make me, really excited and surprised that they're coming back is, even though I don't like the Dalek specials that Chibnall's produced, they're the Daleks. I'm so happy they're back. But Yeah, I just wonder how Ace Antigone could be handled because again, like with Flux, Kate Stewart was handled so terribly. Like
Yes.
she came in, we had a scene with her in I think it was Survivors of the Flux, the penultimate episode, where she has that like interrogation with the Grand Serpent, and it's just like one long pan shot of her on the side of her face, which looks awful and was put together horribly. And then in the next episode, the
She's
finale,
just standing there.
Vanishes, there's no scenes where she interacts with anyone. She's always in the background, in blurry, out of focus and whatever. And then she's back for redemption maybe in this episode.
Yeah,
but
hopefully.
Then again, I just think how compare Flux to Power of Three, for example. Power of Three shits over Flux, like the handling of Kate's in that respect. Because in Power of Three, you like Kate. That's Kate's introduction. She gets a lot to do. And I just think how much of that had to do with Moffat's supervision. Because I do think if Moffat was just like the script editor, for example, or if Chibnall was still the guest writer and he was writing these episodes, I think if Moffat was the showrunner, these episodes would be massively better just because Moffat was overseeing the creative, what was going into those episodes, I think. Do you guys agree?
No, yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying
It's
there,
definitely
mate.
a good what if. Yeah, it'd be a nice one to be, to even be there whilst those episodes are being made. So even we, ghosts from the future, could be like, no, change that, love. Don't you?
Yeah.
You fuck that
It's
Sky
like
High.
It's like people on Twitter, after Once Upon a Time came out, the third episode of series 13, it's like people were saying, oh, if you just change the name from Chris Chibnall to Stephen Moffat in the title, you guys who hate it would love it. And I just thought, no, I would think, Moffat, what the fuck are you doing? Like, compare Once Upon a Time to bloody, I don't know, Listen. Like another timey-wimey story. Or Blink. I just think, Moffat, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, Chibnall, again, like we touched upon it earlier, Chibnall tries to do Moffat, but because he's not a skilled or talented writer compared to Moffat, he just goes for, like George says, like the scale over substance, and that's the problem.
I think. Do you know what I think it is? I think he's not a sci-fi writer.
No,
Like I think he can do drama and things like that very well. Like Russell would always write. I think we keep bringing him up, but he would always do like he would do the drama but balance it with the sci-fi of it. Moffat was sci-fi first, sort of relationship second, whether that was a detriment to your viewing of his era or not.
That's a very good analysis. Yeah.
But I feel like he's a drama writer predominantly, but like it just happens to take place in this sci-fi world, and like it's got the it's just the entrappings of it, like a secondary.
But it's never kind of broke out of the kind of idea that he can just like substitute sci-fi for a few moments. Like I saw a tweet a few days ago and it was like Chibnall only just realizing that the spine of this era should have been the Doctor and Yaz moments, like the beach scene. Like how he only realized that 2 episodes from the end, well, in the penultimate episode, is tragic because his best Torchwood script is Adrift, in my opinion, and Adrift is more drama than sci-fi than anything, and that's where he shines. So why not strip back the sci-fi, like in Listen, even though Listen is sci-fi heavy by the end, strip it back and do character-driven episodes like Listen was for like the first 30-40 minutes until we get to the time travel thing. And yeah, and in that respect, I think Chibnall would have, really excelled. But yeah, he just never learned from his mistakes, probably because he never listened to the reaction from his episodes, so he literally just had free reign. He did whatever the hell he wanted, and yeah, he just never no one got a hold of him and just said Chibnall no, by the looks of things.
I completely
no one
get
like
that.
clapped and slapped their heads together and sort of said like that's
like
not
he's famously said like he doesn't listen to anything like that's said about it because I think it's a very toxic place to be, this fandom anyway at points.
That's true, yeah.
And I think the thing that I do love about this show is that no matter how bad an era can be, it can come back round again. Like how many of us were excited that a collection box set was coming out of Trial of a Time Lord. Like if you'd have asked the people in like 1985 about it, like it would have been like, no, let's
Jesus Christ, burn it to the ground.
Yeah. Like, but it's one of them things. Like, and I love that Moffat is getting love now, because he was getting so much hate at the time, but like you can appreciate them once they're gone, and I would love to see in a few years' time Like maybe if we get a
Yeah.
series or two into R- RTD2, like where we're at with this, like has it aged badly? Has anyone sort of come around to it? Has it? Because Jodie is someone, like, she is some people's first Doctor. This is some people the first time they're getting into it. Like how we were with our respective eras. Like there are people like this that will probably defend this era as much as like you're defending Moffat, as other people would defend Russell. As you know, some people of the 80s would say, you know, John Nathan Turner did a lot of shit, but he ultimately we have a lot to thank him for, kind of thing. It's a strange, because you don't really have any shows or franchises that are like this that have gone on for so long that you can kind of, you know, you can all have your opinions about something, but nothing ever truly stays shit for long.
Yeah, everybody gets something from every era.
And that is the beauty of it, and I would love to see like this whole era as a whole in a couple of years' time, how people
will react to it.
Like,
And
has
reflect.
anyone come round to it? Have we changed our opinions on it, like for
that's
better
the
or
thing,
worse?
though. I think the only way that would happen is if Russell T Davies' second era is shit as well. Like, people are only giving Moffat credit now is because Chibnall has done such a poor job. If Chibnall did a great job, I can imagine that, you know, the Moffat hate tirade would still be continuing. So I just think in a few years' time, maybe some episodes are thought of more kindly, like The Timeless Children. I don't think that's a bad episode. I think that's quite a decent episode. But most people seem to hate it, so maybe that will get reappraisal. And like the storytelling that Chibnall attempted in that one, because it's far less messy, even though it makes mistakes, it's far less messy than Flux, for example. So Flux may not get a reappraisal. However, when the Russell Davies era does come, I don't think it's going to be bad. And if it is bad, maybe some episodes that wouldn't have done, if it is good, will get reappraisal. But again, I just can't see it happening because people, the internet are sheep. Like, if RTD2 is good, then people would just be like, oh, well, in contrast, the Whittaker era was even more shitter, because what we're getting now is back on the same level as what we're getting back in 2006.
But you also know you're going to have them people
years and it's a sin.
that are going to, sorry to cut you off, like, you're going to have them people that are like, they're never truly happy. So even when Russell comes back, you're going to have these people that are like, oh, like, I wish he'd just like been how it was with Chibnall, blah, blah. Like, you will have those people on the internet, because there's just people that will never be satisfied. Like, Doctor Who to them exists in their head the way they want it to, and like, unfortunately, that's not how it exists in the real world. And if you think that the political messages in the Chibnall era are bad, you wait till Russell comes back, because he is angry and he has learned.
Go rewatch Series 1. I know it's in every single Russell T Davies written script in Series 1. There's always a political message in it.
Yeah.
Literally, every single one.
Doctor Who's always been about politics. The Daleks are based off of the fucking Nazis. Like, the fact that, I liked it before it had a message. It's always had a message, because it's predominantly, and I can't stress this enough, it's a kid's show. Like, it was made to entertain and to educate. And
I can't believe, in the Series 3 finale, they made the Daleks German for a few minutes. The moment where Martha teleports to Germany and the Daleks are speaking German. I can't believe they had the balls to do that.
Literally. It's amazing. And, you know, the stuff that he's written since just proves that, like, it just displays, he talks about things that should be talked about. Like, like, years and years, I think, in terms of political, allegory, like, it's insane. Like, this stuff's, like, it's not far-fetched sci-fi. It's happening right now, those kind of things, like with immigration and things like that. Like, it's going to be a whole different ball game. And you're still going to have people that, as much as they wanted Russell to come back, are going to be like,
I want Series 1 and 2 again.
Russell wasn't like this when he wrote Doctor Who the first time. He was, you just weren't paying attention because you were a child.
Which isn't your fault, because we're all once every minute, and I get your mind was different back then to how we are now. But
you can rewatch it as you get older and appreciate that, there's more to this.
In a different light,
It's interesting that you bring out, because my nan doesn't really like the third Doctor, but that's because from her memory, she really liked the first Doctor era, and she loves the fourth, right? That's her favourite classic Doctor. But she didn't like the third Doctor because of them all being set on Earth, for example. Well, most of that era being set on Earth, because she liked the sci-fi elements. Whereas I love the second, first, third, fourth Doctor eras. I love it all very much, except from when we get to the fifth Doctor. But the point is that she didn't like the third Doctor because it's such a stark contrast to the second Doctor, and I think perhaps that's again what you touched upon. Some fans are gonna watch RTD2, who is like teasing that it's gonna be completely different to what came before. Perhaps it's so different that it's a bit jarring for some people, but honestly, I was here for series 11. Like, I didn't have prior judgments to the series. I was surprised that they cast a woman, but then I accepted it, like many people did. I was like, you know what, sure. And then I went into every single episode in this era with an open mind, literally every single one. But like George said earlier, I've not, I was never willed on an episode to come sooner. I've not looked forward to it. Every time it airs, I just think, oh well,
here we go.
Next episode, here we go again.
Contractively obliged to watch it.
Time.
Here we go. Oh, Netflix, don't cancel me. I got to talk about this. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, it's just like it's so crap, and I just don't enjoy it, and I'm frustrated with myself that I don't like it. But equally, I think this era is just more. It's like when you said about fans defending each era and whatever, and like the era that they grew up on. I think, sure, but I think this era just is so. I know it's subjective and objective, but this era is just so objectively weaker than the others, so it's easier to criticize from like a technical view, from like a storytelling view. Like, this is gonna be not a tangent, actually, this is really relevant, but Curse of the Black Spot, Matt Smith episode. For some reason, so a portion of Twitter hate that episode. I don't understand why, but basically there's a scene in that episode, right, where they literally take 2 minutes out of all the action to have a conversation with Henry Avery, just between the Doctor and Henry Avery, whilst the others are sleeping out in the cabin or whatever. And I think this is actually given the side character and side characters, like the Sun as well, an actual character arc, some like development, actually like teaching us about, the side character, that like the historical figure, because Henry Avery was a real person and whatever, and the family was real, and his disappearance, like his death, was real. It's like, where did Henry Avery go? And this episode offers an explanation, but it specifically took time out of it to learn about it. Whereas in Legend of the Sea Devils, we get introduced to supposedly 2 historical characters, right? But at the end of it, we still don't know who they are. We literally get introduced to them by saying their name. The Doctor says their name, says what they are, and then what do they have for the rest of the episode? They battle with bloody sea devils. Mary Shelley in War of the Centaurans. We learn that she is like a war nurse or whatever. Like, she cares for the wounded and whatever during the war. But then, what does she do for the rest of the episode? She maps Sontaran movements and whatever. We don't learn about these historical characters and the guest characters. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, we could criticize the companions earlier, and the character being one-dimensional. But in episodes that is, critically panned, we still had what this era absolutely lacks, and that's decent characters.
Oh, absolutely. And you bringing back the education thing, because the viewers will look at some of these episodes and they wouldn't have heard of Nikola Tesla, and even the names have escaped my head, but like the likes of Nikola Tesla, people
Ada Lovelace,
any historical figure, like people would have looked at this and gone, who are these, who are they? But like you say, if this was an RTD episode, if this was a Moffat episode, you would have had more of an idea who they are, because as you've just perfectly summed up, Will, Legends of the Sea Devil, the historical figures turn up, they help fight the Doctor fight sea devils, but what bit of input do you actually get from them as individuals? None, because they're just there to fulfill the script. You don't learn anything about these famous individuals.
That's why Rosa is arguably the best historical episode, because it actually takes time with Rosa. But then again, it takes time with Rosa, but Rosa is one of the most, known figures in all of history. So instead of, giving more attention to, the unknown women of history, which some people are praising of this era, and I think, sure, they've got a lot of historical women in this era, but what did we actually learn about
the
them?
Individuals? Yeah,
it's Spyfall Part 2. We get introduced to about 5 different female historical women, and I just think, but who are they? What are their names? I can't even remember.
No, I genuinely can't either. Yeah, no,
it's just awful. And not just because of the historical characters, just like the side characters in general. Like Henry Avery, again, we had that moment out of like all the action just to learn about him, and it was like a really nice scene. And Legend of the Sea Devils and every single Chibnall script, pretty much, is so surface level in terms of it introduces the thing, tells you their occupation, and then that's literally, and it's just a story at hand, and it's just Chibnall delivering exposition to try to glue a load of things together, like in this episode, and it just encapsulates it in Legend of the Sea Devils, and it's just like, Legend of the Sea Devils, it has everything that I don't like about this era in one episode, plus terrible editing and terrible direction as well, so that didn't help, but it's just so sad, and it's like, people wonder why this era has such negative reaction, and I just think, well, where's the character stuff gone?
Yeah,
Like in,
it's not kind of helping itself,
what do
really,
you
is
call
it?
it? Journey's Ends, that scene with the Doctor being reminiscent about all the companions he's lost and all the guest characters that he's failed to save and whatever. That clip's resurfaced on Twitter this week, just because that isn't a thing in this era, and it's just so sad, and that's why I love RTD and Moffat so much more than Chibnall. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no,
No, it makes
totally.
total sense. It is I don't dislike. Like, I don't like disliking Doctor Who, like, if you get me. Like,
Exactly, yeah.
It is
I know.
annoying.
No.
Hopes for the still as yet untitled centenary special.
Bloody hell, that was a long tangent. My bad.
It's all right, man. It's good to get you, like with me. You're giving me the content, so it's fine.
No worries, mate. What
Your
was
your hopes for the last episode. If you can steady yourself to think of something.
No, I'm glad you invited me on, because I've never had like the platform to really express my utter hatred of this era. So it's like I've really unloaded it today.
It's fine, man. That's what we're here for. We're not here for because we're not here for hatred. We're here for this is everything
Good
is
conversation.
everything is opinion based, and it's nice to just have this chat because we all kind of feel the same about this era.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Like if you the people out there that like it and love it, and this is your Doctor, like good for you.
No,
I wish I felt like
I'm
that.
genuinely happy
I just
for
don't.
You.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm genuinely so happy for you. Yeah.
Yeah, yay for Ace and Tegan, but I don't think we're going to wrap everything up.
I just cheered when I saw the lone Cyberman again, except he weren't alone.
Really?
But yeah, I was happy with the Cybermen. I was happy about the Cybermen. And then Sacha Dhawan going back to how David Tennant last at the Time Lord vibes. He ages him up. So is the Doctor going to fucking age him up, and that's why he's old with the wig and
Yeah, like
fucking.
are
Are they going to recreate that sort of series 3 finale again?
shaven, slight beard, long scraggly Dumbledore?
With the Master, have you guys seen the theory that was posted on Twitter yesterday? Apparently, so the shaved Master is going to be a newly regenerated Master.
Oh, that'd be
that's
nice.
off the back of Missy. So after Missy turns good at the end of The Doctor Falls, apparently that's post-regeneration Missy. Sacha Dhawan's Master, clean shaven, and he's going to warn the Doctor about some threats, and then eventually he's going to be.
So this is when his brain isn't really sort of healed yet, isn't it? Because they kind of like they all. That's quite a cool idea. Like the fact that that's just the last bit of Missy sort of eking through of like a warning before it becomes full scale.
It just makes it a bit less surface level. You know what I mean? It adds.
Yeah,
it gives him a bit of an arc as well.
Complexity. Yeah.
And obviously you've seen the stuff about with Yaz, like is it true about the she's actually siding with the Master, like she's holding a gun up in the TARDIS, like is it going to be a bit of treachery, which I think would be a good twist, but we've kind of like with the whole Yaz loving the Doctor, it's really sort of coming out of nowhere.
It's not earned.
We passed that bridge in Spyfall, because in Spyfall it was rumored that Yaz would be evil, but after what happened in Legend of the Sea Devils, which by the way, the beach scene and how it handled all the love and whatever and river and stuff, that was all fantastic.
Yes, I like that.
But I just think
Too little, too late.
I don't know what the expression is. The bridge has been crossed, or roads passed.
That ship has sailed.
Yeah,
literally. That Sea Devil ship has
was
fucked off.
Suddenly to become evil, right? If Yas was to become evil in this next episode and against the Doctor, what would her motivation be? Oh, the Doctor rejected me, so now I'm evil. That would be awful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, literally, yeah, because
It just
it's
wouldn't
not
be
been
earned.
built to. Like, if it had sort of been seeded throughout, past Spyfall and into like Flux and to now, then you would kind of think of like it's come out of nowhere. Like it makes sense.
It literally contradicts what you've built up from the last two series, yeah.
And the fact that like I know people ship like the whole Thasmin thing, and like I'm happy for you that you've got what you wanted, but like it's nice to see the representation, but also it's kind of only been alluded to like twice, and mainly by
Yeah.
fans. Like it's the fans that have made the connections in terms of, if we'd have had more of a play on like her not wanting to give up finding the Doctor, like after series 12, like with the whole Revolution thing, like because she loves her, like have more of that in there, and like it's taken until Dan saying at the end of the series, like just tell her how you feel. Like I don't think Ryan and Graham had any kind of inkling, because you even had that weird sort of like Ryan and Yaz are going to be set up, because like the whole stuff when they
in
see
Series
like
11,
her family
yeah.
see him and stuff like that, and like, oh, you went to his school, like
And
you
at
look
the end
different
of
kind of
Rosa
thing.
as well, when they're like sat behind what was it? They were sat behind a bin and they were talking about racial injustice and whatever. And then the scene ends with like Yaz looking at Ryan like really sincerely, and I just thought the chemistry is there for something to occur between these two.
Yeah,
So
it's like
I thought they were going to build on
yeah.
that.
It's like you said, like he's kind of didn't make up his mind until like it's kind of already gone. It's almost like he's going, yeah, you can have what you want because I'm fucking off and I'm not writing this
I
show
don't
again.
care no
Definitely.
But here's the thing: Chibnall didn't even intend for Yaz and the Doctor to be lesbian. It was Jodie Whittaker's idea. She brought it to Chibnall because, of course, Chibnall doesn't read fan interaction. But Jodie saw, or maybe in Mandip, one of the two passed on the Phasminship, art or whatever to Chibnall and encouraged him to introduce it and whatever. And then the way he introduced it in Eve of the Daleks, I thought, and so does my friend Luke, we just hate how it was kind of handled in Eve of the Daleks. It was like, okay, so surely it should have been Yaz's decision to do this, but it seems to be like Dan orchestrating it. It's like Dan made Yaz reveal her feelings, and then like that could have been enough. It's like, okay, Yaz will quickly or slowly reveal her feeling to the Doctor across an episode or two, but no, literally, and then the very next scene, Dan says to the Doctor, "Oh, Yaz likes you," and I just think this is so unnatural. Like this feels like
People don't really talk like
what
that.
would happen in like a secondary school or whatever.
No, that's what I mean.
No, yeah.
Oh, he said this, she
Yeah,
said
she
that.
fancy, yeah, I completely get that. I
Playground behaviour,
I don't think it's been handled particularly well. Will it be wrapped up nicely? Maybe.
Yeah.
Ish.
Will
so.
Tegan and Ace be used? Probably. Kate will.
Apparently,
Will Tegan
Tegan
go to
was on
Australia?
set for several weeks. So she was on set
Yeah,
several weeks. So
and
that must be one of the
Janet
cameo
Fielding
shots.
has come out and said, because of all the like Chibnall like hatred towards the thing, has said like
Yeah.
like calm yourselves, like Chibnall did us proud, it's a good episode, but obviously she's the one like that's being paid to say that possibly.
Well, yeah.
But also, to be fair to Janet Fielding, she is also one of those people that generally doesn't really give a fuck. So, and she is a great ambassador for the show. So it's weird that like we got that picture of her with Peter Capaldi in like 2015, and we like were desperately clamouring for that, and then it's taken about 7 years, but we
years
finally
later,
got her. It'd be nice to. They are strange choices for. They're not immediately people that spring out to mind to like bring
No.
back.
No,
Because obviously, like, if, circumstances were different, like, Elizabeth Sladen would be involved in some capacity.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
in terms of classic companions, she's at the top of everyone's list. And then you kind of forget that,
Yeah.
people like Ace and Tegan, were in eras of the show that weren't at the time
as
universally
appreciated.
loved and appreciated,
Yeah.
but are still
Like,
fantastic
I'm
companions.
so excited to see Ace back because she was like a great companion in her own right. But Tegan, I'm kind of surprised by because, like, I was talking to Luke again yesterday, and I was like, well, the thing is, if he butchers Tegan, I mean, that would be awful, of course, but I just wouldn't care as much as if he butchers Ace, because Tegan wasn't like a great companion in the 5th or 4th Doctor era either. You know what I mean? Like, Tegan's not one that jumps out. It's like, oh, this is my companion. It's like, Ace is that for a lot of people.
She's like no, I completely agree with you. Like Ace is just magic. Like those last 2 series, her and Sylvester are just magical, and
Yeah.
prototyping New Who. But I think, Tegan is vastly underrated. It was a strange choice because I thought someone like Jo, because we've already seen her before come back, would have been someone that you'd think, would have been like a good choice of like, because Katie Manning's still very active and like loves the fandom and would probably come back at the drop of a hat. You've got, I think Fraser Hines would have been a good choice as well in terms of like.
Honestly, this is my shout. I've wanted him back for ages. William Russell. He's still alive,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chesterton.
Well, because he was going to be in. Was it The Visitation he was going to be in?
I don't know. I think Jacqueline Hill returned in Meglos, which is around that era.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she did. Yeah.
Like, because
you're right.
there's a Peter Davison one where I think it's the Visitation, or it might Black Orchid, might have been Black Orchid. Basically, whatever one the Brigadier's in or whatever.
Mordred Undead.
Yeah.
Like you get like it was originally going to be them, and obviously like they've alluded to the fact that he's the chair of the school that Clara was working at and stuff. Blah blah blah. But
he's still alive, so have a final hurrah for him,
Yeah, but I
know
think
it's like
because Barbara's not there.
It's like 100 almost, so like he doesn't look great at all, but that's what you'd expect from like a 97-year-old man or whatever. But just have him there in some capacity, like as a cameo or whatever.
Especially considering the fact that in Sarah Jane
still
Adventures
alive.
they talk about the fact that they haven't aged since the 60s, so that might be a bit of a. I'd love them to come back, but also like if you left them alone as the sort of perfect fairy tale would like be nice as well. Like you could bring back Stephen, like Peter Purvis is still knocking about. Like you've got
Maureen O'Brien, Vicky.
Yeah, Vicky. Who am I thinking? Leela, obviously, because I think Louise Jameson is. She's on Emmerdale at the moment, isn't she? Like, so could have. If this sort of sets
Popular
up,
as well, yeah.
if this sort of sets up the fact that the our past companions are knocking around, and that is the parting gift of leaving it open, because we know that Russell wanted to bring back Ace in the next series of Sarah Jane had that continued, and sort of bring more of the classic companions back together, like they all do sort of know each other, and I'm assuming they kind of have a WhatsApp group, because to my knowledge, Ace and Tegan
haven't
never interacted.
Not even in the big finish, I can recall. Like they've not. No, I don't think so. Like they've not met.
I don't like the line in the trailer either. Like I haven't seen the Doctor in 4 decades, and it's just like only because it's been 3 for me. It's like. What the fuck? What the fuck does that mean?
What does that mean?
Yeah, snap. You win. Okay, but yeah, Sophie Aldred. Even like bring back Mel for a bit. I don't know, because it's like we've had
Melanie Bush.
No, Miss Melanie Bush. You've had the companions sort of reprise their roles anyway, in terms of the collection trailers.
Yeah.
Like they're all in canon. Like you could, if we get to a point where you have, like even. Maybe, like, I don't know if there's a spin-off out of it, but if you can have these interconnected companion stories, then come back into it, like it would be one of those things. But that's a problem for a different era. But
final thing though, before we do wrap up, because I'm intrigued to know, do you think this is going to change Russell T Davies' anniversary plans? Because apparently he was going to have like a blowout with a load of characters. That sounds off. No, but as in the episode was going to have a load of characters in. But if the centenary is going to do just that, do you think he's going to perhaps lean into the idea of, doing the like the series with different doctors in as like a little anniversary, as opposed to doing one special with a load of cameos?
I think if you did like a sort of little run of specials with past doctors coming back, would be, because I know like there was a whole
more different,
because then it's a thing of like you're waiting to see, like if it ends on a cold thing of like we don't see the 14th Doctor, that would be the way to do it. But I think if we see the 14th, then it's kind of a bit. But then it is also the thing of we haven't seen this Doctor, so maybe if you have a run of specials before the 60th, it's almost a thing of like getting to know the Doctor. You'd have to get to know that Doctor and to care about them interacting with other ones, kind of thing. Because it's a big ask for your first episode to be the 60th anniversary.
Yeah,
exactly.
So maybe it's a thing of we don't see the Doctor until the end of the 60th if there's only one special, or we get to know them, or you get Tennant, Smith, Capaldi, and maybe.
Was excellent.
Oh, Paul McGann was
excellent, and he had one big special as well.
Yeah, but like he had nothing really to lose, and that wasn't a thing of like, here's us celebrating the honour of the show. We're giving this a go, and we'd like to carry it on, and it probably would have been really interesting had it continued. But I think if you get people like Tennant, Smith, Capaldi, if you could, I doubt you're going to coax Eccleston back for a very long time under this regime again. Like, I think if you could have that, get the general interest back, get the numbers up, and then hit them with a series every spring, I think that can be the way to sort of. Russell's essentially going to do the job he did the first time, which is just get Doctor Who back in the public consciousness, get people talking about it, and most importantly, just make great stories first. And worry about the other things second, which I am looking forward to after this last special? Like, but what is everyone at home think? What do you have Merry Christmas to all of you at home?
I think if I'm going to quickly rank these, I would put Legend of Sea Devils 4th, Eve of the Daleks 3rd, only because of Aisling B's character Sarah. I liked her a lot in that special.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, I just like the actress. Then Resolution, Your Body Horror, non-normal traditional Dalek story, but I like the creative horror aspect that you touched on earlier. And then memory serves me that Revolution was more fun, but I mean that's just as vague as anything.
There you go.
In this era.
What do you guys think of the Chibnall era and the specials? And did you enjoy Legend of the Sea Devils? Let us know in the comment section. Interaction, please. What are you looking forward to for the last of the Jodie era? And we'll obviously at some point have Will, and probably if we can wrangle like a sort of all-star team of, all-star team of classic companions.
Yeah. Oh, if you get Mike back, then me and him will just argue during that episode. But I'm here for it.
So if you want that, let us know. And also, thank you very much to Will for joining us today as we depart this realm, and then me and him record another episode of House of Gamez. So, plug yourself. Plug yourself, Will.
With what?
With whatever you want the people to tell the people what you got going on.
So I've got Will_Templar at Will_Templar on Twitter, Will Templar 03 on Instagram, WhoGameshows, and whatever the hell else I've got going on YouTube. I've got pretty much 5 channels on at one time, so yeah, I don't know what really to plug, but WhoGameshows, of course, just because George and Connor have been on it and are going to be on it, so yeah, check those out.
Yeah.
Please.
Thank you.
And thank you to all of you at home for listening, watching, ingesting, and just having this on in the background. We'll see you the same time next week, maybe. But that's the Doctor Who, that's the Doctor Who elephant out the way for now. We'll have to just let's worry about it again in October. Thanks everyone. See you later. Goodbye.
Auf Wiedersehen.